Extra depth into one case that has been slowly grinding its way through the justice system. It has taken so long. One of the child victims is now a high school graduate. What is causing this legal limbo? I investigate the case and the delay in this episode of Borderline Crimes. And a warning, I won't get detailed, but this case does involve allegations of sexual assault involving children.
I was anywhere from like 5 to 7, possibly, 5 to 7, anywhere in that age range.
This is CD, only identified in the court documents by her first and last initials. And according to those documents, CD was actually 5 years old when she was molested back in 2012. Her first outcry to her mother went unheeded, so she kept it to herself for 4 years until confiding in an elementary school classmate.
And I told her what happened, and the school thought that it was my dad. So at first they were like, we have reports or a girl saying that your dad is touching you. My dad isn't even in the state. And they're like, well, is someone touching you? And that's when I did complain about it.
CD's statement to police 4 years after the incident turned out to be one of many against an El Paso man named Edward Alvarado. Alvarado was arrested June 17, 2016. He was accused of repeatedly raping an 8-year-old girl over 2 months in 2015. Alvarado was taken into custody at his home on the 300 block of De Vargas, south of Paisano, and was charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child.
We've since learned Alvarado was due in court next month. He was indicted on 2 charges of aggravated assault causing bodily injury in 2014 and 2015.
Alvarado was booked into the El Paso County Jail on a bond of $200,000. El Paso County Jail records show Alvarado bonded out in August, less than 2 months later. Then he disappeared. Court records state that Alvarado didn't appear in court on November 15, 2017, and December 8th, a warrant was issued for his arrest. Nearly a year later, Alvarado was found in Mexico. He was brought back to the U.S. over the Stanton Street Bridge in downtown El Paso on October 5, 2018. While he was on the run, several other young victims had come forward accusing Alvarado of sexual assault. Alvarado was re-indicted on new charges and was booked once again into the county jail, this time under a $300,000 bond. And that's where he remains to this day, in the El Paso County Jail, charged but not tried, an inmate, not a prisoner, for 8 years and counting. Edward Alvarado's case file is now a whopping 320 pages long. He is facing 3 counts of continuous sex abuse of a child under 14 and 1 count of aggravated sexual assault of a child. El Paso police pointed out in their investigation at least 1 victim was under the age of 6. All of these charges involve 4 different children, based on the initials used to identify the victims listed in the documents. Some of them were assaulted multiple times for several months, even years. I read through the statements given to the El Paso police over the years. It's very graphic, and I'll spare you the descriptives, but there are 66 different detailed instances of children describing how they were abused at the hands of Edward Alvarado. How do you cope with something like that? How do you go day to day?
Unfortunately, it just wasn't something that was really important at my life in the moment. It wasn't my biggest priority. It was just something that I took and went. I accepted it. It happened. And after the report, I felt, I guess, a sense of justice because I at least said something.
But that was only the beginning of the journey to justice. CD's report may have prompted police to arrest Alvarado 8 years ago, but she has spent the last 12 years trying to move past this trauma.
I never heard about anything after, so I kind of just let it go away.
The 5-year-old who was a victim of sexual assault is now 17 and a high school graduate. I could hear in her voice as she tried to first rationalize why it was taking so long to go to trial. But then her frustration boiled over.
There's obviously more important cases that could be discussed at this moment of time, in my opinion. But honestly, like, the fact that it's barely coming up all this time is, like, ridiculous to me. Like, I'm damn near a whole adult and you're barely going to bring up a childhood trauma. Someone had said something about it years ago. Multiple girls. They found multiple girls. You're telling me you have to find multiple girls? 2 weren't enough? The 2 that you knew of that came clean, like, that wasn't enough? And then you want to bring it back when I'm an adult. For sure. Absolutely.
I wanted to get an answer as to why this case was taking what seemed to be an extraordinarily long time to be resolved. I explore that on ABC 7 at 10 tonight in part 2 of my Borderland Crimes investigation. And for more extra depth reporting, you can download the KVIA ABC 7 CTV app. You can find it on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.